Early conquistadors did encounter indigenous people in the Americas who had darker skin. For instance, when Christopher Columbus arrived in the Caribbean, he described the indigenous people as having a variety of skin tones. Similarly, Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto encountered tribes in the southeastern US, noting variations in complexion. One of the earliest descriptions comes from Alvar Núñez Cabeza de Vaca, a Spanish explorer who described encountering dark-skinned indigenous people in the Gulf Coast region in the early 1500s. These early accounts reflect a rich diversity among indigenous populations before widespread European contact and subsequent reclassification efforts. Historical quotes and records from explorers like Columbus and Cabeza de Vaca illustrate this diversity and the early presence of dark-skinned indigenous people in what is now the United States. These descriptions highlight that Black indigenous heritage has deep roots in the Americas.
Interesting. Thank you for the information. So, for how many hundreds of years have Black indigenous people been documented here in the Americas?
Black indigenous people have been documented in the Americas for over 500 years. European explorers first recorded encountering them in the early 1500s, and indigenous oral histories suggest their presence dates back even further. Their rich heritage and contributions have been interwoven into the history of the Americas for centuries.
Thank you for the information. And when these Black Indians were found here in the Americas, and then the African slaves were shipped here later, did the conquistadors, the Spanish, did any European factions use any kind of verbiage to delineate these different ethnic groups? Also, were any similarities noted? Did any of these conquistadors say that these Black indigenous people looked somewhat similar to Africans?
Yes, European explorers and colonizers often use specific terms to differentiate various ethnic groups. For instance, the Spanish commonly referred to indigenous people as indios. When African slaves were brought to the Americas, they were labeled distinctly, often as negros or africanos.
Many know about slavery, but few discuss paper genocide. We did not all come from Africa, and most of us have Aboriginal roots that were stripped away due to reclassification and miseducation. As a native Black American and a member of the Muskogee Creek Nation, I understand the importance of tracing your lineage. If you want to learn how to trace your genealogy and apply for tribal citizenship, go to nativeblack.ancestry.com to schedule a consultation.